The game has changed today where it is an entertainment business. How do we make the game cool again? How do we get more followers? And how do we get kids engaged how all of us in this room were engaged as a 10-year-old?
There it is. And nobody loves the spotlight more than this guy. Alex drives one deep to left field. Ball game over.
First of all, I'm so interested in kind of this best-in-class conversation. How do kind of overall macro the state of the game of baseball? If you think about how do we, on one level, in 1994 we were a $1 billion industry. Today we've jumped to $10 billion. That's an incredible growth in about 25 years. But we're getting challenged in. We talked about this yesterday, Alex, in social media. We're getting challenged in kind of growth and popularity of the game. Kind of just open format. How do we make the game cool again? How do we get more followers? And how do we get kids engaged how all of us in this room were engaged as a 10-year-old? Alex?
I think it comes down to the players' willingness to get out and work and do that kind of stuff. If you want to, if guys that play in the big leagues that have this platform, if they want to be as big as some of the stars in the NFL and NBA that are so visible on TV commercials, movies, like the cameos, TV shows, then they need to get out, get in front of the camera, and they need to get to work, and they need to get in front of the right people, and really get more visible. They gotta want to do it.
I mean, we kind of talked about it earlier. Like guys, I feel like guys in the off season kind of want to go and just go be left alone, but they want the same visibility, they want the same publicity as these guys in other sports who are like they work in their off season to do this stuff and to build content and to be able to put it out and to be able to have access to everything during the year. And as a kid nowadays, like, what's the first thing they go to? They go to Instagram, they go to the internet, they go to all these other platforms, to look up to see who the stars are, who's cool, how you're dressing, the way you look, what you do. And baseball's kind of taking a back seat of like not wanting to go out and do these things or not wanting to go out and let us kind of be us or be cool. Like what puts fans in seats, and I feel like it's guys who are well known, who are stars. Like you have guys you just take basketball for example. Like you could have a fan of like Russell Westbrook, like being in Oklahoma City, but you could have a kid in Florida be a fan of Russell Westbrook. Like you don't really have that. I don't feel like you have that in baseball right now, where people, somebody comes into town, you're going to see that player. I don't feel like that's going on at all.
We talked about this, like how regional baseball is.
Yeah.
Just like,
Right.
And we play so many games. We play 162, whereas basketball's 82. Obviously, the NFL they play 16, and it's like such a grind, and it's like the way it's set up is like you generally root for your city. And then you can kind of find players through that. I know Max can speak to it a little better than I can.
I feel like growing up in LA, with the amount of games that baseball's being played, with the 162, I feel like it's hard for like a common fan or like even me growing up to pay attention to more than just the one team that I'm on. I feel like it's hard to, see who's in, on the East Coast or in the Midwest, especially when you're like confined to more of like your market and your team, and you kind of stay within to that. So I feel like, it definitely takes a lot putting yourself out there to be able to either market yourself or become relatable to, the national side. But I feel like a lot of guys just get stuck in this more of like niche market of like their city, and they want to stay local and kind of connected.
Okay, so let's open it up. So go ahead, Al.
I feel like you being in New York, it was huge, but you also worked your tail off every day.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, like, what did you do to become as big as you are?
Well, I think, look, first of all, it was a different era, right? I entered in 94. I got to New York in 2004, and we didn't have Instagram and social media. And I was so scared of social media when it came out because I thought it was like a weapon. If you're not careful with it, it can hurt you. Right? So the risk.
A lot of veteran guys have that view to social media, at least in my experience meeting them, talking with them, teammates, things like that.
So the risk for reward for me wasn't there because I didn't have anyone on my team that can actually kind of navigate the waters. I didn't know where this thing was going to land. It kind of seemed cool, but it seemed scary. I always focused on the game, right? And my focus always was, to a fault, 100% baseball. And at some point when I got a little bit older, it became 90% baseball, and then 10% kind of I had my eye on other things. My two focus from the time I was 18 were baseball and business. It wasn't really entertainment, and it wasn't all that. I think the game has changed today where it is an entertainment business, and I think sometimes we forget that as an industry. But I kind of just want to go around the horn here, starting with Jack, and just jump in. But Jack, if we were commissioner for one day or one season, kind of give me the one or two moves that you would make immediately.
Like baseball-wise?
Yeah.
To the game. I mean, we're just talking the game. I hate the drop third strike rule. Like, I mean, obviously, like, it's one of those things, like, if it's that bad of a pitch where you're swinging it and the catcher's missing it and you get rewarded, why are you getting rewarded for that? Like, I understand it should be, should be blocked. I'm, blessed to have Yachty back there, so it doesn't really matter. But for other guys, it's like, why are you getting rewarded? Why do I got to deal with you on first base? Like, I don't.
But it is cool when you get four punchies in an inning.
How many times you gotten 4 punches in the inning? How many times has that guy come around and scored?
I think it happened to one of our guys once this year.
I tell you what, I would bang immediately would be the fan interference rule. It got us twice. This year. It got me in Colorado, and I went and lost my mind. And then it got Altuve in the postseason when it really mattered, with a 2-run homer to tie it in right field.
That was crazy.
If you can't assume a double play, how can you assume that a guy's going to rob a home run?
Okay.
You know what I mean? That's an unbelievable
That's
play.
fair. Max?
That's a tough one. I think I'd probably, the number one would be the drop third strike. There have just been so many guys, pitchers in my organization and others that I've kind of just like heard that hate it so bad.
Yeah.
It's
Jake?
just, yeah.
I mean, not so much gameplay, but you talk about the fans and interacting with the fans. I would probably open up BP for the home team hitting, as opposed to you go on the road.
Yeah,
they want to see their guys hitting for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that'd be one of the
Yeah,
things.
open it up. That's where guys, like, when you talk about making the game cooler again, that's where guys have their personalities and, like, that's where guys are themselves. And
You can interact with the fans a little bit
you
more.
get to
You
do
have
your
some
thing.
fun with them. When the
Yeah.
game starts, you're kind of locked in.
You're
on the
locked
game.
in, and you're locked into what you have to do for the game. You can show it a little bit, like you
Yeah.
can still be yourself, but you're kind of more locked in. But BP and everything, everybody's themselves, and
Yeah.
so everybody's having fun.
So as far as all those things are great, I mean, I think I also want to talk a little bit about growing the game. We talked about growing the game internationally from just domestically. What other things can we do? Alex and I were talking yesterday. I think the biggest following on social media is around 1.5.
I think the biggest following on social media of active players is about 1.5-ish. But you and David Ortiz are the two highest followed players on social media, and both of you are retired. So that in the NFL, you have Odell Beckham Jr., who is a top 5 receiver, top 10 receiver, and he has 12 million.
And then LeBron, NBA, they have a bunch over 20,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Everything
Oh, yeah.
about
It's
it is
international
covered.
fans. Like, it's all the people in China, all the people like in Africa. It could be anywhere. They know who LeBron is. They know who.
We touched on that.
100%.
Yeah.
You touched on
Taking the
it.
game overseas a little bit.
Mhm.
I mean, that could be.
Do you
But
wanna
it- but
do you
is
wanna
that-
go play those games though? Like,
That's true.
You want to
That's-
go play a
the
series?
travel.
I'm not against it. I'm just saying, like, you have to grow the game out there, but you have to
With our
include the
schedule,
travel.
162 games,
and-
and you got to include.
I mean,
I heard the Australia series a couple years ago with the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks. I heard that was like kind of, it was tough on guys, especially with it starting before spring ended.
Right.
With it, so like just finding time and place to be able to do that, I feel like is it's also
because
tough.
like you were saying, there are 162 games. So like
You only get certain
traveling
outfits.
overseas to go play a couple games, you're coming right back within the next couple of days to play back at home.
Yeah.
That's a lot of wear and tear on guys.
So I think it's really changing the narrative, right? And you have to change. Major League Baseball in the union, they cannot do it by themselves. Ultimately, the 750 players, you guys don't sign up, then it's going to be hard. You're going to be basically trying to grow the game with handcuffs. It takes going to London. Like Kobe Bryant went to China for 20 years in his entire career. He actually was one of the first guys that went there with Yao Ming. LeBron goes overseas every year. LeBron is getting mic'd during the finals. I mean, if you don't lean into it, no matter what Major League Baseball does, they have to speak to the union. And if you guys don't say, hey, I want to go to Australia, guys, you're young. Go to Australia, play in front of the Aussies, then go to London. Say yes. I think what we see in our game is this behavior, right? And you're the generation that can change it. Yeah. I will call Rob Manfred and say, hey, I want to go to China. I want to go to Australia. Sleep when you're dead. We want to grow our game, and you want to grow your brand. Yeah. So if you become a prisoner of your own schedule, then A, the game doesn't grow, and B, more importantly for you guys don't grow. Mm-hmm. So it is a collaborative effort between players, the union, and Major League Baseball to say, hey, let's go attack this game. Let's take this pie from 10 billion, let's take it to 15 or 20. Yeah. And, for me, the thing that would upset me as a player would be when I entered the game, it was $1 billion industry. In 2001, it was a $3 billion, and Brody, you like this, you're here, you're taking notes. It was a $3 billion industry, and today's 10. Well, I signed a contract that made $25 million at $3 billion. Today's at $10 billion. I don't know if you have any econ or finance major. There's no $75 million player today. Yep. And to me, that would be fair because the Yankees are worth $5 billion, the Red Sox are worth $3 billion, and there's no team in baseball that's under $1 billion. So as this industry grows, it's only fair that you guys grow with it, but somehow they're convincing you guys that you guys are going to be suppressed down here, and the owners keep more of the pie.
Basketball, those guys are making $40 million a year now, and then they make more off the court than they do even like on the court. But as their TV deal got expanded, like salary cap went up, those star players got paid more. Mm-hmm. Those contracts kept going up, but they keep renegotiating, they keep doing all that. Like, I mean, like a guy like him, like he still got 4 more years before he's a free agent, which is. It's kind of crazy. Like
you're making minimum.
He's like he's gonna make a little bit over minimum next year. And what you get like 30 and 100 last year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, Fox just gave a $5 billion deal, right? I don't know if you guys read that. So the game is healthy. The industry's growing like a weed, right? So Fox just said, forget all the things about the game not growing. They just gave another $5 billion for another 7 years. So Fox owns the World Series property for the next 10 years. But again, when people hear you guys saying, oh, but the schedule, and I don't want to go here, I don't want to go there, they'll go, okay, we'll just cap you guys right here, right? So the idea is how do we figure out a way to grow the game, and maybe we go to Australia, but we have 3 days off when we come back. I mean, there's always a way to figure out the puzzle.
Right, 100%.
But not where it's going to sacrifice your earnings for the next 10 or 15 years.
And the more you grow it, and the more you build your own brand, and we build and everyone around the league builds their brand. Everyone will get compensated for that, I'm sure.
Guys gotta buy in. Guys gotta buy in and show that you're more than a player. Like you talk to these outlets, and they say no baseball players have any personality. Like, and when you get around the media, it's so your answers are so like robotic, and like you're taught to say a certain thing.
It's tough because we get taught all that.
Yeah.
Like I remember when I first signed
media training.
Yeah. Social media training. Like they like scare you about Twitter and Instagram. And it's like, oh, make sure you don't do this, don't do that. And it's like,
well, and it's like
all right,
almost,
like I'm not going to be an idiot. But like can I show some personality? Can I be myself? Like I don't want to just do generic like posts all the time.
Well, in baseball, it's kind of like taboo to show your personality.
Yeah.
It's like it's like, oh, don't be that guy. Nobody wants you to be that guy, but like you don't get to kind of promote yourself along with your team.
Yeah.
So you would say the average follower on Major League Baseball, if you take the 750 players, would you say the average is around 50 to 100,000 followers per player? Not even.
Maybe like
That's less.
Yeah, maybe like 20 to 50.
20 to 50. So what can we do to grow those numbers for you guys? Any ideas? You guys are the young ones.
I think it's a collaborative effort. All of us working together to constantly. You have to post.
Yeah, I think you see a difference in the guys that are more like he's active, and he's got people who are.
I love him. Whoever's not following Alex Bregman, follow him. It is fun. It is entertaining. All you guys.
It's cool. But his is not all baseball. Like kind of all the content you get during the year is all baseball stuff. Baseball. You look at, other sports. They've got all this other stuff going on that they can use throughout the year where they're showing they're more than just
If I'm a little kid in Atlanta, I want to know what he's doing off the field.
Right,
I want to see, like, want to see when he wakes up for breakfast what he's eating. I want to see who he's hanging out with on
like
the
him,
field.
Right.
and be like
So you
that
can
kid.
grow
It's-
up and be like him. So
Everybody
I feel
wants
like
to be Odell.
Exactly.
Everybody knows exactly what he does. What
You're
his
exactly
schedule is,
right.
But he had to work for that, and he had to get to a place where he has that. Not everybody's Odell. Like he's to another extreme where he's to the point where everything he does in pregame is videoed. He has photographs of everything where you see every single of his one-handed catches. Like what's cool in baseball? Like what do people enjoy? They enjoy homers, and they enjoy people throwing hard. And there is more than that in the game right now than anything. Like we got a guy through 105
right now
this
is
year.
the perfect time for that.
Like and it kind of started with that, and then honestly, like steroids kind of just hit a wall because it was like, why are these guys hitting so many home runs? Why is it happening now? It's hanging over the game right now. It still is a little bit, but there's still more homers in the game, and there's more guys throwing harder than ever. And I think that's what the average fan and people that I've kind of talked to that don't really pay attention to baseball, they're like, damn, how do you guys throw so hard? How do you guys hit the ball so far? None of that's it's showcased a little bit, but as Major League Baseball, they kind of pick and choose the guys that they show off.
Were guys hitting balls 119 miles an hour, 120 miles an hour like Judge and Stanton always?
I mean, look, as far as talent, there's no question that the game has never had more young talent. Not only talent, but young talent, right? But again, what I hear in our game, and it's just something we just have to break through, right? I just hear a lot of excuses, right? I think. Go ahead.
No, I mean stuff just has to get done by the players. Like,
Yeah.
you have to take ownership for it.
I agree, and at the end of the day, you're basically controlling your own career.
Yeah.
You have more opportunity today than any player. It's unfair to talk about in my generation. Forget Bob Gibson; that's a whole different world.
Yeah.
Every day, you get an opportunity to talk to your fan base. I don't care if you have 25 or 100,000 followers. There is so much content. Look, one of the things I would do if I was in charge of baseball for one day is I would just open up the floodgates. I would take what they think is our biggest weakness, and I would flip the script and make it our biggest strength. And what I mean by that is think about all the great things, Jake, that happen from 4 o'clock to 7 p.m. All right? And if you think about having, let's see, you have 30 stadiums, you would have 60 hot cameras, you would have them in each batting cage, each locker room, each weight room.
Yeah.
Because if I have a young son, or if I'm, Alex Rodriguez, a 10-year-old boy, and I get a chance to watch Alex Bregman or Jake or Michael, I want every bullpen hot too, right? Yeah. So if I can go on my phone, the world lives on a phone, right?
Could you open up that content in the locker room to?
Well, I think locker room is the next step, right? But let's just start with the greatest place to be, guys, is in a batting cage watching. I came up watching Ken Griffey Jr. I watched something that's gold, and I'm like, oh my God, I cannot believe this guy's my teammate. I gotta act cool because he's gonna discover that I'm a fraud. I'm really not this good. He's Ken Griffey Jr. And I'm 18 years old. I was just in prom. Well, actually, I didn't have a date in prom, but I still went to prom. But the idea is that you have this great content. Think about driving home, and you're with your son. And you say, hey, son, put on the Yankee app. And he gets to watch Stanton hit.
Yeah.
And he gets to watch Judge hit. And then I go, oh, let me watch Alex Bregman. Oh, he goes in at 440. Because we've programmed it with the union and Major League Baseball that I get to watch you. And I get to watch you every day. And guess what happens? Baseball is habitual. If I get to watch you every day, I may not want to watch a 4-hour game. I admit that. I will, but people.
Yeah.
But I will watch 5 minutes of Alex Bregman in the cage. I will watch, 5 minutes of Michael throwing, a bullpen, or you throwing a bullpen.
And you mic it up too.
Yeah.
And what?
You can mic it up too.
And you can mic it up.
And it's like you're talking about whatever drill you're doing. I'm in the pen. I'm like, oh, I need to
That's
do
right.
this with my change up or whatever. It's like that's interesting to kids.
By the
That's
way,
super interesting.
if you're talking and I have, one of you guys, and you guys are throwing a bullpen, and I have Max over here, and I have a camera right here, and you're throwing, 92 to 94, and you're throwing your changeup, and you turn around and you say, hey kids, the reason why I'm throwing my changeup is because, see the circle, this is how I throw it, and it's gonna be about 86 miles an hour. I mean, is there anything more compelling than that?
No.
There's not a fan of baseball or of any sport
They
that
can
wants
lock
to.
in, and then it turns
And
into watching the game because it's
Yeah.
like, well, what are they gonna do in the game? They get like, what's gonna happen? Like, he's doing
You want to
this,
see it
know what's
show
going
up in
on.
the game. You want to see the results.
You're like, oh,
Well,
he was
here's-
86 with his changeup in the bullpen, and he was doing this, but
Yeah,
can he
yeah.
execute it in the game? Let's see. I'm going to tune in later and watch.
Right.
Well,
And
here's
then I'm going to watch again the next day.
the consumer has their phone. They get to watch every day at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. The truth of the matter is, when you guys are doing your biggest, best work, I'm going to be sleeping because I'm 10 years old. But if I get to watch it from 4 to 7, warm up, and talk about what you're going to do, then guess what? When I wake up in the morning, I'm going to watch Alex Bregman or Jake's 4 at-bats. And it's going to take me about 45 seconds.
Yeah.
So I think that is our biggest asset, the lowest hanging fruit that we don't have. That does not exist today.
So what about
Yeah, just-
like Sunday night baseball? Like that's kind of the big thing for baseball. Like why can't it be as big as Sunday night football was last night? Like, I mean, I don't know if you guys want to do sit downs or something. Like you guys come in and you talk to the players a little bit, get to know them, but like there's no like sit down interview kind of mid game, just something like that where.
One thing I talked
more
about with
personality.
MLB a little bit, we had a little meeting, and they were telling me that we are going to be having like whether it's Sunday night baseball and Wednesday night baseball or every weekend this year. You know how the
Those
NFL
big matchups. Too.
You know, yeah, the big matchups. You know how they have the NFL players coming in off the bus wearing like their fashion
yeah.
stuff, doing that stuff. They have it for the postseason, like we have. Like kids love locking in
Should
on
be
that. Like what's
cameras around all the time.
Lance McCullers wearing to the ballpark? Like they're gonna have that every weekend or every Sunday
there
night
should be
baseball.
cameras around every time.
I agree.
Yeah.
And hype it up.
You gotta hype it up, and that's what I'm saying. Like that, you have that stuff. You have that pregame kind of, intro, and you guys do sit down. If there's a big matchup, you get a big pitching matchup, or you get you can build that storyline of you get the, if the Astros and Dodgers match up, like, oh, here's a potential World Series matchup. Like you hear that in other sports, like, okay, we got a potential Super Bowl matchup, we got a potential NBA Finals matchup. Like you can hype it up in that way, like with those matchups. Like you get two aces, two young guys, or you get two MVP candidates going at it. Like all those storylines can absolutely be built up and run, especially on a platform like, if it's Sunday night baseball or Wednesday or whatever it goes.
I feel like also in the NFL and NBA, like they build hype around matchups. Like
That's what I'm
if
saying.
they build rivalries based on like just the stuff that they talk about beforehand. They build Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook. They probably like each other, but the NBA makes it look like to everybody that they don't get along.
Yeah.
Max,
And
what's your favorite music group?
I'm into hip hop, so my favorite artist is J. Cole.
I didn't see that coming. How about you, Jack?
Hip hop, and I would say Kendrick Lamar.
Michael?
Also in hip hop,
But I hip hop.
This was
Lil Wayne got me into rap, so I always
There you
listen
go.
to Lil Wayne.
Lucas?
Hip hop too, man. I listen to eclectic.
you want everything.
Yeah, I listen to everything. Right now, like the Atlanta trap wave. So like all those guys, pretty much.
Who?
I'm old.
Who?
Like the Atlanta trap
the
guys.
pick
That's
one.
what I listen to.
Like
the most.
Migos and all that?
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
I mean, I've been on kind of a country kick, a little Eric Church, or kind of like reggae or slightly stupid.
There you go. Al?
Like Travis Scott, Post Malone.
Is that country?
No, like
You go to
Hip hop?
rap.
Were you in Houston for
Music's not my thing.
Well, yeah, we were at the concert. Yeah.
That's sick. Yeah.
See,
It's
and again,
coming to LA
the 20th.
2 days
I
before
already
my
got
wedding. I
that.
don't know if I'll be able to
We'll
go.
be there.
favorite
I got
city
that
to
one.
play in? Max?
Sorry?
Favorite city to play in?
I really like playing at Busch Stadium.
Damn.
Like Road City.
City. Yeah.
New York.
St. Louis.
New York.
Chicago.
Chicago, yeah. It's a home city.
I mean,
I can't say that, right? I have to
Road?
go. Road City?
No,
I
Road
like-
City. Road City.
I'd say Boston. It was so cool.
the only road city I pitched in was Detroit, but I got my first win there, so I'm gonna say Detroit.
I say road city would be Chicago and LA. LA is just nice to come home, and then when we go to Chicago, it's just a different vibe. Cardinals, Cubs.
You know what I would play? And by the way, if you're Major League Baseball, you can actually call it a Major League Baseball Plus and charge $3 to $5. I'll be the first one to sign up because if you're throwing a bullpen, and I know you're going to throw a bullpen, say at 4:05, and I can watch you, and you're going to talk into the camera. You're going to say, "Here are the 3 things I'm going to work on today, and here's why." So my last start, I struggled here, so here's my adjustment. This start, I'm facing so-and-so, so I'm going to really focus on getting that fastball into righties or lefties. I mean, to me, that's gold. I know I'm a nerd and I'm not the norm, but Alex, if you go in the cage, or Max, if you're telling me I'm having a hard time with my changeup, my spike curveball is my best pitch and my strikeout, but if I can get this equalizer, this changeup, and I'm throwing it too hard, 88 to 89, I want to get it down to 85. So watch these kids. That's gold.
At what point, I'm all for it, but at what point does it kind of get you at a disadvantage, like tactically, like on the field?
I wouldn't
Like,
overthink it. Nobody's watching you that much. You know what I'm saying?
I just figure with all like the
also, like,
analytics today.
if you think that I'm going to be watching Max on what he's doing in between starts, I have enough data coming at me. First of all,
Yeah, the other team already has
I was gonna
the
say.
report on
you
you.
can also mess with, right? If you're gonna face your lefty, right, and you're facing predominantly lefty lineup, and you know you're not gonna use your changeup much, right? You're gonna be more fastball, cutter, curveball. Then you look in the camera and you go, this week I'm really gonna work on this changeup, right?
There's equipment now anyway to where guys can stand in a box against a simulation of Chris Sale throwing in live game anyway. So if we're doing something like that, I think that's minimal compared to what guys already have the advantage on.
And that is we're seeing it here. The 8 of us talking, the 7 of us. I didn't go to college.
Neither did I.
Yeah, good. Only one did. LSU, well, none of us did. Anyways, here's a microcosm of this enormous conglomerate that we have called Major League Baseball. It is a $10 billion, is a juggernaut, okay? But if over here, we're actually, I hear more hesitation here than in any other industry. But if they're gonna hit me, or if they tell us not to do it, or this, rather than when in doubt, attack. And I love what Alex is doing, and I commend all of you for being here and opening up the floodgates, because it's the only way you're gonna grow the game and get interest. You gotta let people taste it so they want more.
Exactly.
So you gotta do more of that.
I also think doing stuff like that would add, I know personally it would add extra focus in my side work and all the stuff I'm doing. If there's cameras on me and I know like kids are watching, like I'm locking it in.
Yeah.
Like probably more so than if it was just
You're more game like
me and the
for
pitching
sure.
coach.
You're more game like because you know people are watching.
Yeah, I think
And
it would be really cool.
Yeah, I'm
The
all
fact
for
that
it.
I'm a high school kid and I don't get to watch you guys, in the weight room, in the training room, in the cage, is such a disadvantage for me. I would just say, let's flip the thing. Let's flip it on their ass, because at the end of the day, they only have 16 games. That's a disability. They only have 82 games. We have that much more content, that much more power. Content is king. We are the kings of content. Let's lean into it, guys.
I think it travels into the off season though too. I think it travels into the off season though too. With workouts and everything that kind of what he's doing, where he's kind of doing all that. And I would say everybody's got to go and have a YouTube channel, but use a platform that you have and show everybody what you're doing. Show everybody what's going on, what you have going on in your life.
Show people.
Listen, I hang out with NFL players, NBA players, soccer players. Trust me, they're not that damn interesting, and they're not more interesting than you guys. But yet, it's being a reflection out there that they're that much more fun, and they're just doing a better job of selling themselves.
Now, let me ask you about, you bring up the 162 being an advantage. Could it be a disadvantage? Because team plays
Watered down
16
a little
games,
bit.
everybody's going to be locked into each and every
Yeah.
game and get a more TV time than having 162.
Yeah, look, as far as we're never gonna let's always lead with our strength, right? Let's lead with our superpower. Our superpower is that we have content that's like second to none. They have 16 games, we have Sunday Night Baseball. So what do we do, Jake, to counter that? Is every Sunday night game, I will bring in a different celebrity from a different sport. You like Travis Scott, Ariana Grande, Selena Gomez. We have a $10 billion industry. We have more money than God. Well, let's use some of that capital to attract superstars into our game. I would have Kobe Bryant if we're playing the Dodgers.
Yeah.
If we go play Oklahoma, I would have Westbrook. If I go to New York, I will bring Odell, what's his name? Odell what? Yeah, I'll bring that guy. Whoever the hell it is going to bring eyeballs, I would bring in. Funny story, I told my daughters, hey, honey, you guys want to come to the All-Star game with me? Natasha and Natalie, they're 10 and 14. So they're the demographic that we got a geo-target. She goes, Natasha says, oh, you nuts, Dad. Come on, how much baseball can I watch? So then I start thinking, Ella, my 10-year-old. Would you come, honey? Would you come with Daddy? And she says, no, Daddy, kind of a little bit slow. So I'm thinking. my head is burning. And I said, hey, honey, I just got news from Major League Baseball. Selena Gomez is going to perform in the 4th inning. And I see them thinking, and they're looking at me going,
Exactly.
comes back 20 minutes later, she goes, Dad, can we go and can we get 8 tickets? Yeah, Daddy can call some people. I can get 8 tickets. I have no chance of getting 8 tickets. But yeah, I want my daughters with me. And so now I got all the girls rallied. I got girls calling everywhere. They're all on FaceTime. We're going to go watch Selena. But here's the thing. They were going to go watch baseball too. And I had to say, honey, I'm kidding. They're not. No Selena Gomez. You still want to come? She goes, no, I'm out. Right?
Yeah.
So that is the lesson that we have to think about. And
That is cool. In the NFL, they do have a halftime
got a halftime
performance,
show,
which blows it up.
Well, you
Yeah.
did college game day, right? I know it's
I did,
different
yeah.
college sports. Like I saw Bryce Harper just did that too. Like, I think that like bringing in other celebrities to like hype the game up would be huge.
I agree.
think it's
And
awesome.
half the reason why people love going to Laker games here is because they just get to see what celebrity's sitting
Yeah,
on the court.
who's courtside?
Yes, who's
And-
courtside?
Yeah.
Who can I see today?
Obviously, LA is different. Like that's how it is at Dodger
Yeah.
games too. You never know who's going to show up. Like somebody's going to be out, but it's always cool to see who's
So like
there,
you're doing
who's
a
gonna be
panel,
there.
you're doing your panel before the game, and you get, if we're in LA, you get Kobe to come on with you and go over the game.
well, I was just with Kobe last week. He loves baseball. He watches every game. He watches the Dodgers. The little dirty secret that we don't want to share is that people love baseball. People love baseball more than any other sport. They may like fantasy baseball. By the way, we just signed a great deal with MGM. Props to Rob Manfred. I think we're going to do great there. But people love baseball. And everywhere I go now that I'm on television, I now realize how much people love baseball. People in Brit, in London, they love baseball over there too. We have a lot of Americans. We have about 400,000 Americans across the pond. But if Kobe Bryant likes baseball, shouldn't we have him on TV and our platforms where we pay $5 billion to let Kobe talk about why he didn't play baseball? He was scared of the baseball. If you talk to most NBA and NFL players, they said what made me stop was 2 things. Either I cannot hit a curveball, or I'm scared of the little baseball, which I think is really funny and ironic, right? And they're 275 pounds. Oh, I'm scared of that ball, man. But yeah, everywhere I go, if you talk about Tom Brady loves baseball. You know, he's always DM, I love that game, or you know, he's texting me saying, hey, Alex Bregman's doing great, or the Red Sox are on fire. Everywhere you go, people love baseball. But we don't want to tell that story. But we are in the entertainment business, and we are in the storytelling business. I would lead everywhere I go with the biggest stars that love baseball, and I would bring them into the booth and say, what can be more powerful than having Kobe Bryant talk about why he likes baseball and his history with baseball? The answer is nothing, right? Right? Baseball is really cool, but we got to make it cool again.
100%.
On that note, I don't know if we have to cut this out. I'm going to speak kind of honestly. A lot of the content out of like MLB, Instagram, Twitter, not just MLB, but just baseball in general, it's like I see and I roll my eyes immediately. It's like, this isn't it. Like, this isn't cool. Like, do you know what I mean?
I had to unfollow MLB on Instagram and Twitter. Not gonna lie.
No, I'm
it's the same.
I'm
the same.
I'm not trying to be rude or anything. Like, I just think like, you know how just like the way the internet culture is now, like with memes and like all the, like music, hip hop music especially, like things like that. I thought it was a step in the right direction with the like little Migos
was great.
video they did. That was cool, the hype up video. But I think it can like be taken to a whole nother level, like
Yeah,
of
they wanna
appealing
do
to the younger generation. All these kids that are on their phones, on Instagram, on Twitter, like looking at this and that, integrating that into the game. I don't know, just like off the top of my head. What was the thing last year? No off season, or like never,
off season.
like hashtag no off season, never
Yeah.
stop working. Like it's like okay, like that's all
They
right,
want to
but
do
it's
it.
like
They're trying to figure out the best way to.
yeah,
They're
it's.
trying
I
to
think
figure
it's
it
like
out.
we just have to find that lane of like cool, and it's difficult. I can't do it. I don't work for the MLB office, so I don't know. It's like finding that lane where it's like where you're really connecting, and people aren't like, oh, this is like kind of cringy or this is weird or whatever.
Because then we have our own players kind of making fun of it, you know?
Yeah.
Guys like,
They
no
don't-
off-season, haha, you know?
Yeah,
whatever. But
Michael, you don't work for the Major League Baseball office.
Yeah.
You keep going. You want me to play Major League Baseball.
Yeah, no, I'm not trying to.
I'm kidding.
No, I'm not trying to be disrespectful in
No,
any way. I'm just trying to like be constructive.
The game needs to hear your voice. And sometimes when you're part of a union, everyone is scared to step out and say, I'm going to be one of 750. Well, you can talk, you can be constructive, be thoughtful about what is it that you want out there. Remember, you get one crack at it. You don't go out and get to say 9 stupid shit, and then because if you say something really smart, it's going to be lost, right? So be clever, be smart, be thoughtful, but people need to hear your voice. Rob Manfred, Tony Petitti, Chris Park, these guys, they want to hear your voice. Actually, more so than you actually think.
I talk. This is just like in our own market, in the White Sox, we're on the South Side. I talk about this with TA all the time. Like, you know,
Who's TA?
Tim Anderson, our shortstop. Sorry, our starting shortstop. I talk about this with him all the time. Like, you know, we got to start bumping music. We're on the South Side. Like, let's start bumping some Kanye West, Chance the Rapper. Like, let's, you know, get people involved. You know, the organ is cool, but you know, we're kind of moving away from the organ now. Like we want to like.
That's the worst place to take BP in the world. Yeah.
Like, you know, the organ's like a cool throwback. Like, you know, mixing the organ every now and then, but like, we have a lot of organ going on. You know, it's like
Hey guys, good is the enemy of great, and we've been good for a long time.
100%.
But we're no longer one. Well, now we're 3 behind NFL and NBA. And the only way we get back to number 1 is we have to lean into this thing. We have to be proactive. We have to go out, and if you're in Oklahoma, you go out and see Westbrook, wait for him, take a picture, Instagram, do whatever it takes. Don't let your ego get in the way of greatness. Don't let your ego get in the way of growth. Okay? It takes effort. We're number 3, but we're doing great. We're doing well. I'm sorry, we're doing good, but we need to be great. How do we do great? When you're in communities, look, LA is easier, right? New York is easier. But guess what? There's important people in Houston as well. There's important people in St. Louis and Chicago. You talk about one of the best owners in the game, in Jerry Reinsdorf, one of my mentors. So what do the White Sox have to do? You have to do things that most people are not going to want to do. You write letters, you write emails, you invite people in. Come in, we'll invite you into the locker room. We'll invite you into batting practice. Don't expect people to come to you and be flat-footed. There's more things to do than ever before today. So as a game, we have to open up. And what did you do last night? What did you do? Hey, Alex, I want you to come be with my boys. And what did I say? I'm in. But if you don't ask, Alex, I'm not here. So you guys got to go out and reach and ask and put the ego down, man. The only way we're going to grow the game is collectively. We got to go attack. Next time you see Kobe, you say to Kobe, hey, I know you're boys with Alex. He came. Would you stop by? All he can say is no. So what? Go ask Shaq. You know, go ask whoever.
Half the shit that we put out on our YouTube channel, I'm like, I don't even know if like I don't know if I should post this. I don't know if should we post this, and then we post it. And it's
You just gotta go for it.
I love what you're doing because I'm getting to know Alex, the person, and it's fun. And I like what you're doing with your boys. I like how you go to you went to a game, LSU game, about a month ago. You go in caravan, you get all type of crazy shit going on. But I'm like, okay, it's fun, but I don't want to hear about your slugging percentage anymore. I want to hear about Alex, the person. So,
I agree.
What if you had, like, from a kid's perspective, what if you had access to that with your idol when you were growing up? You know, like, that's sick. Like, what you're doing is legit.
If I knew what he was doing, I would have been doing the same shit.
Right, exactly.
and listen, again, it's something. There's always going to be a hater. Haters hate, then they copy.
Yeah.
Haters hate, then they copy. So you get up for breakfast, you feel good about what the you're eating, take a picture of it. Who gives a put it out, see if it works.
Yeah.
Put out content, you know. If you got something, Max, that you're working on a breaking ball, look into that. You're a good-looking guy, you're smart, you went to Westlake. They wouldn't even let me into Westlake. Not even to play catch. But the idea is, lean into it. You only have one life. Average career, 5.5 years. If you're going to start thinking about, well, I want to be back, I want to be reactive, I don't want to make a mistake, guess what you're going to be? You're going to be average.
I think a lot of it, just from my perspective so far, is like I was up and down. I don't feel like I've I haven't had like an established role in the big leagues yet, so it feels like awkward and kind of like out of place for me to start trying to do that and not have like a role and be established in my career. So it's kind of like trying to find a healthy balance of, do I put my head down and try to work as hard as I can to try to accomplish my goals and be an established player in the big leagues, or am I going to try to take some of that time away from working and then doing it on growing my social media presence?
Yes and no. But if you're going to go for a 3-mile run,
Yeah.
and you look into the camera and say, hey, this is Max here, I'm going to go on a 3-mile run. I hate running this pavement, but I'm going to do it anyways. That's not going to take, like, look, there is a balance, right? There is a balance where you don't want to be too forthright and too, I get all of that, but you're an interesting guy and you're a smart guy. And what don't I know about Westlake through your social media? Why don't you tell me that's the Princeton and Harvard of high schools? Why don't you tell me that Westlake is a top 5? There's so much content that I want to know about you guys. But again, I don't want you to go out and be Beckham overnight. I get that. It's also not your personality.
Yeah.
But lean with your looks, lean with your family values, lean that you went to a great high school, lean that you got through an injury, and your challenge is about trying to figure this thing out. Right? There's so much. You guys are so interesting, but you're worried about the union and the league and this, and guess
my
what?
Teammates,
My teammates.
what are they gonna say?
Haters hate, then they copy. If you guys have anything for me, we can kind of wrap it up. Anyone can join. Any questions, any thoughts, any concerns?
I have one question for you. Difference. I just wanted you to talk about the difference from playing in Seattle, playing in Texas, and then playing in the Big Apple. I just wanted to hear what New York was like compared to the other places, from an off-the-field standpoint and on the field.
So 1993, I was the first pick in the draft at a high school. So I went from South Florida and Miami to the furthest point of the United States to Seattle. And, I was like, oh man, the Dodgers had the number 2 pick. And Brody, you probably remember Darren Dreifort. He was the number 2 pick out of Wichita State. And, what I thought was a curse was the biggest blessing. Seattle was a place that was just incredible for me to grow. To many ways, I felt like I'm 18 years old. I'm a freshman at the University of Washington. And that's how I looked at it, because all my other friends were in great schools from Michigan, Florida State, Miami, Harvard. That's a lie. I don't have any Harvard friends. I'm from Miami. So I don't want to get back on track. So Alex, to answer your question, to a degree, I thought I had it perfect, just like you. I had a great manager. You have AJ Hinch. I had Lou Piniella. I had the best player in the world in Ken Griffey Jr. He was 6 years my senior. So I watched him and learned from him, and I was in awe of him. And then I had Edgar Martinez. I arguably had the best hitter in the game in Edgar Martinez, the best pitcher in the game in Randy Johnson, and the best player in the game in Ken Griffey Jr. So it was kind of great mentorship for me. And then from there, I went to Texas. And then all this development kind of somewhat prepped me for the Big Apple. And the Big Apple is a lot. And I needed probably another 10 years to prepare. But once I got there, it's the greatest move I ever made in my career. And I liked it so much that even through the ups and downs, all my ups, I doubled down and went back after I signed. I opted out and I went back and finished my career. And when I was at 696, I had several teams call and say, hey, do you want to hit 700? And I just said, no, 696, I'm content with that. And for me, Hal Steinbrenner gave me an opportunity to kind of save my life and save my career. And 696 with the pinstripes trumps 700 with another uniform. Anyone else? One from the stands? Any of the women out there? Some smart women out in the crowds? Asian, right?
Advice for longevity in your career.
So I think we talked about it earlier. I think sleep is something that's really overlooked. I love to see young men kind of sleep 9 to 10 hours. You can try to do that with a nap. You have to be at the stadium so early. Sometimes you got to be there at 2, so that's hard. Games end up late. I think nutrition is a huge part of it. Really understanding what is it that you need. A lot of times we overeat for no reason. I think sometimes it's just nervous energy. And then really being smart about your workout routines. Look, if a person, all 7 of you here, again, all 6 of you, have an opportunity to make over $100 million in this game. To me, I never understood why we're so damn cheap with our nutrition and our trainers and all that.
No, just
Why not for me, I almost spent a lot of money to make sure that I had the right trainer, the right nutrition. Invest in yourself. First of all, it's tax deductible for some of you cheap guys out there. And the other part is invest into yourself. There's no better investment with your body, Adrian, that's going to make you have a better ROI, return on your investment.
That's LeBron's thing, right? He puts
1.5 million a year. LeBron's
1.5 into his body every year.
Tom Brady the same way.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're the same way.
That's it. You can't spend enough because it's just simple math, guys. If you spend, we don't have to go to 1.5, but if you spend, let's say, a couple $100,000 a year, and you do that for, let's just say, 10 years, that's $2 million. Well, if you play an extra 4 years, you do the math. Brody, the agent over there, is doing the math himself right now. Anyone else? Anita? Yes.
So you're passionate about your career. How do you have a work-life balance in terms of taking care of yourself mentally and emotionally to not fully be drained by the game and everything that's work-focused?
Lisa, right?
Lisa.
Lisa's a great question, and it's exactly what we're doing here today. We're working on our craft, we're honing our craft, but we're having a kick-ass time. We're on the beach, we're in Manhattan Beach, the water's beautiful, we're running, we're among people we love and like and respect, and we're not in a gym. We're not up in the Northeast where it's cold and snowing. We're here, we're living the dream, we're collaborating, we're talking amongst each other, we're learning and getting inspired, and at the same time, they're in LA. They can go watch a Laker game tonight, there should be a concert, and that's where I think you balance. I mean, I don't think you ever kind of just disconnect completely. You may do for a short period, but if you can incorporate fun with work, winning formula. Anyone else? What's up, Jake?
What do you got? Kind of golden rules of baseball. The kind of talk about growing the game. So a couple weeks ago, Michael Thomas told a touchdown, pulled the cell phone out of the thing.
Man,
I didn't see it, but I went and looked it up. I know a lot of people did. So what's the line there? Because I know how many people would go look if Alex Bregman hits a homer, pulls a flip phone out of his sock, puts it back,
I'd be all over. We X that one out on the list.
No. But what's the line there? And how much fun can? Because that's viewership. People want to see
Like,
kids having fun. What's too much? And
I mean, a cell phone's probably a stretch. But I thought what you guys were doing with staring into the camera and all of that stuff was great.
Add a little extra fun to it.
Yeah, we're talking about it. By the way, guys, the world's hard right now. People are miserable. People can't pay their bills. There's stuff going on overseas. Let's have some fun. I love to see you have some fun. My job is, whatever I say up there, is to really just share fun with the people out there. People want to hear people smiling and laughing and talking about how tough the game is and how great it is.
But as players, we got to balance the respect part of it too.
Yeah.
You don't want to disrespect your peers out there.
Yeah.
But I think it was kind of good what we were doing in the dugout, away from everything.
We had a
fun.
very similar one. We'll see. The White Sox market is so much smaller that it's like it never picked up national attention. But
that's because you guys suck.
And we suck. That's the main thing.
9 wins.
Yeah.
Chicago's a great market.
Chicago's a great market. We haven't won for a long time. We need to start winning. That's the main focus, of course. But we were doing this thing about midway through the year. So now Miami does the turnover chain.
Yeah.
We had a home run chain. So a guy would come into the dugout, and we had this like the old school Sox logo, big chain. We would put it on, we'd dance around, and it was awesome. And like people loved it. But it's just we need more people to see it.
You have, you have the home run chain. You have a bunch of comedians, but you can't win a game. That's the biggest problem.
We were winning that month. We're using the chain. We were winning a lot more games. It was a better month.
At the end of the day, guys, what's always going to win is great performance.
Yeah.
Right. And you decorate that with greatness. But there's nothing that you will do in your career that will give you a better ROI than you being a great baseball player, a good human being, and doing things the right way. Now, Jake, to circle back to your question, and we'll finish here in the next 2 minutes, is one of my favorite moments in the game over the last 10 years was the Jose Bautista home run in the playoffs. I mean, that was electric, and the stadium was going nuts, and it was true excitement. It was genuine.
Yeah.
But now we know we have 3 pitchers here, right? Well, we have. Well, yeah, great. We have 4 pitchers and we have 3 hitters. we know the difference between excitement and genuine like celebration of the game versus us showing you guys up. There is a big difference. And by the way, there's also a big difference when you guys strike us out and you guys are showing us up versus excitement, right? And we know the difference. And I think, Jake, there's no limits on how much you can celebrate as long as you're doing it with your fans, with your celebration, and it's not a stare down. It's not.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
So like walking 5 steps, staring them down.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
So how did Griffey do it? Because Griffey was that guy. Like he had that swag. He was cool. He pimped home runs, but he also played the game hard. Like how did he go and do it and be that guy? Like
First of all, Griffey's a great human being.
of course, yeah.
Okay? So if he was facing, for example, Jack, if he was facing you, he would bring you to his house. And Melissa, he's been married with for 25 years, great lady, they would cook for you. And he would teach you about the game. And you know that he's a good person with great character. And when he's hitting the game, he's a magician. He's an entertainer. So when he hit that home run, I never saw him stare at a pitcher. What I saw him do was boom, put the cape, walk it off beautifully, like Picasso, and go to first base.
Clean.
Right? But there is a difference if you hit a home run and I'm then screaming at you and doing all this and I'm scratching my balls. Like, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. Yeah. All right, well, if no other questions, I want to thank everybody for being here today. And thank you guys for giving us some of your time. You guys, I'm going to be cheering for every single one of you guys. You guys are doing great. And I will leave my number, information, if you guys ever want to talk. If you're super bored, you can call me. But I wish you guys all a lot of luck.
Thank you.
All right, thank you guys
so much, Alex.
You got it, man.
Keep it rolling.
I need a camera real quick. Pardon? Yeah.
Thank you. You guys got my number now.
You guys leave. You leave Thursday, yeah? Yeah. You guys leave here till Thursday? Right there.
Yeah. Okay, cool.